Here we go, Bachaha. It's all Persian to us with Kyan Nademi.
That's trauma for you right there.
All right. The sound of one person clapping. You guys don't even clap anymore for the Kyan theme. What do we got? I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah.
You teased us earlier in the show, something about cats.
Yes.
This episode of It's All Persian to Us, where we discover what we actually discovered in terms of Persians. Take it away, Kyan Nademi.
Speaking of being number one, as you mentioned earlier, you know, you and Sahar were discussing this. Yes.
I remember what happened half an hour ago. Yes.
It's no secret that the Persian Empire was once the largest and most powerful empire that the world had ever seen. In fact, an estimated 44% of the world's total population was being ruled during the Achaemenid dynasty in 480 BC. Did you guys know this?
Yes.
44%. Did you really?
Well, I knew it was
44% of the world. That's almost the whole world. Well, half.
Yes. Less than half, actually. But yes.
It's less than half, Kyan.
Yeah. Well,
Almost the whole
keep
world.
going, Kyan.
anyway,
It's okay.
So so the largest world empire doesn't just happen overnight, you know. It takes a lot of work. It takes skills, experience, resilience, and creativity to conquer, rule, and maintain such vast lands and peoples. Like creating one of the fiercest armies ever known to the world, for example.
It's not easy being conquerors.
It sure is not.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you that much.
Takes a lot of creativity,
I'll have you
Captain
know,
Reza.
yeah. They had to come up with crafty ways to maintain that warrior edge through inventions like the high heel, for example, to keep soldiers secure on horseback while shooting arrows, or the invention of polo to train soldiers to be skillful fighters on horseback. Another way was to introduce the world's first ever chart of human rights to unite people from different nations, cultures, and religions. This all helped maintain peace and order under the Persian Empire. So being crafty has always been the way Persians expanded and maintained a vast empire ranging from North Africa all the way east to India. Well, in 525 BC, during the reign of Cambyses II, the king was feeling quite restless. I mean, his father was Cyrus the Great, so to say that he had big shoes to fill is an understatement. Cyrus had, after all, established the Persian Empire, conquered Babylon, freed the Jews, introduced human rights, you know, small stuff like that. So how could Cambyses II, the successor and oldest son of Cyrus the Great, possibly top all of that? The answer lies in North Africa, a jewel by the name of Egypt, a prosperous and powerful empire of its own right. And as the saying goes in ancient times, conquer or be conquered. So conquer it was, as King Cambyses II drew up the plans to march towards the land of the pharaohs, where he'd face off against Amesses II, ruler of Egypt. According to Herodotus, however, it's said that the conflict between Persia and Egypt all started when King Cambyses II asked the pharaoh of Egypt, Amesses II, for his daughter's hand in marriage.
So hang on a second. Let me recap. There's a Persian Empire.
Yes.
Things are being kept peace and order, as you
Yes.
say. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
more
Not sure
or
if
less.
that's universal peace during the
Yes.
Persian Empire, but okay.
Right.
There's Persian Empire.
Yes.
It's huge.
Yes.
44%.
Right.
Which is, as we know, almost the whole
Almost
world.
the entire-
Almost. Yes.
And
Not enough, but sure.
And then there's this jewel in North Africa
Yes.
called Egypt. And the Persians want to take Egypt as
Yes,
well.
well, the reality of ancient times is, like I said, if they don't actually conquer those lands, they risk being conquered.
Conquered, right,
So
yes.
they had to make a move before the Egyptians made a move. So
Yes.
it basically came down to that.
Okay.
They had to do what they had to do, Gian,
Sure.
okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, back to, what was I even saying? Yes, Herodotus. This is Herodotus' take of what actually happened.
Okay.
So
Who's he?
he's the Greek historian that basically wrote all of the
Right,
ancient
right.
times, but not the most reliable source. I'll get to that. So anyway, so King Cambyses II asked the pharaoh of Egypt, Amesses II, for his daughter's hand in marriage. Not willing to part with his daughter, he sent the daughter of the previous pharaoh instead. Wow. Well, Cambyses.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Well.
Hang on a second.
Yes. Go on.
So who who offers the daughter?
So the pharaoh did not want to actually send his own daughter.
But who's our Persian?
So the story goes that Cambyses the second.
Cambyses Hosseini the second.
You guys are ruining everything.
No, sorry. Cambyses asks for the pharaoh's daughter.
Yes, he wanted to make unity and
by marrying the daughter.
That's how they did it back then. Right. That's how they did it. So this guy,
little
this
does
pharaoh,
he know, he gets sent the
right. Well, Cambyses was no fool. He soon discovered this trickery and felt extremely insulted and waged a war against Egypt.
Wrong. Oh, okay.
What?
Right.
Did you say wrong?
The wrong daughter.
Right, exactly. He figured it out. He's like, wait a minute, something's fishy here. Yeah. So whether this narrative is true or not, we don't know. I mean, the Greeks weren't exactly the most reliable source in Persian history, but Nonetheless, Cambyses II did in fact wage...
She's still angry at the Greeks.
I know.
She's like, I don't know if we can trust those people. It's been 3,000 years, but...
but nonetheless, Cambyses II did in fact wage war against Egypt. This is a fact.
Should we take an entire episode for this? This is very long.
Well, it's about to get really interesting.
Oh boy. Okay.
Now he was planning a battle in the middle of the harsh Egyptian desert against.
Who was? Cambyses.
Oh my God! Is anybody listening?
Well, I'm trying to keep it straight for everybody. All right, because there's a lot of information here. You're throwing it all out there. I mean, you want people to tune in or not? So Cambyses now is going after Egypt because of the daughter issue.
Allegedly, but the other
but
story.
we don't know because the Greeks told that story.
Yeah, but for all we know, he just.
Why are the Greeks telling the story of the Persians and the Egyptians?
They burned down our books, Gian, when Alexander the Great came over, and this, it's all gone.
But how did the Greeks know about this?
How do you know about what happened yesterday in the world? News travels.
They had books. Their books wasn't burned.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Oh, I see. They wrote the books about what happened, but they weren't there, is what I'm saying.
They weren't there. Listen, with everything in history, like we weren't there, right? We're just kind of taking.
Abbas Milani tells me. That's how I know. I read his stuff, but I don't know why they. Anyway, all right, okay.
Right. So
I'm trying to figure this out. All right, please.
So Cambyses.
I'm not like these guys who pretend they know all of this. I don't know. I'm asking.
So Cambyses II was planning a battle in the middle of the harsh Egyptian desert against a mighty army on their own turf. So he knew this wouldn't be an easy feat. So he developed a new revolutionary military tactic done by no one else in history. A psychological warfare so advanced, so genius, it would put today's technology to shame.
Now that editorializing, that sort of editorializing about how great the Persian genius was, that's not from the Greeks, right?
No, this is Kyan Nademi.
This is Kyan Nademi. Apparently this is where we get our history from.
That's so reliable. Everyone's shit. We're great.
I'm gonna put you all in timeout so I can finish this goddamn story.
Please.
All right.
Yeah, sorry.
So he marched his army into the Battle of Pelusium and made sure each of his soldiers had with them a special protective shield. A cat.
Oh. Wow.
Yes, you heard me. A cat.
Cats are good in the desert?
No, that slick Cambyses was well informed on the customs and beliefs of the Egyptians. Rule number 1 of war, know thy enemy. The Egyptians had many gods.
I thought it was conquer before you get conquered.
That's
a lot of rules.
Rule number 2.
Haven't you read the Art of War? There is a whole list of laws. Yeah,
right. I have not read that actually.
It's a good book actually. The Egyptians had many gods and goddesses, one of which was the goddess Bastet. She had the head of a cat and the body of a woman. And killing a cat was the biggest insult to the goddess, which was punishable by death in Egypt. In fact, cats were so sacred that they were held above humans. If a building was on fire, for example, the cats would be saved before the humans would. Another fun fact, if a cat died of natural death, the whole Egyptian household would mourn the loss by shaving their eyebrows. I have no idea why. These are just things that...
Little Oogie's not going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
all that to say, cats were pretty sacred in Egypt, to say the least. And Cambyses knew this, of course, so he used their own religion against them. Wow. Hit them where it hurts, right? Yeah. So the Persian army plowed through the streets of Egypt, swinging cats and taking names. Meow. PETA didn't exist in ancient times, by the way, in case you're wondering. Right. Yeah.
So they were swinging the cats?
Yes, it was a catastrophe.
Okay. Right.
I came with that one off the own.
Yes, that one's clearly you. But right, we don't care.
Right.
There's no animal rights here. We're using the cats to distract the Egyptians because they're like, stop swinging that. Then we hit the Egyptians.
They basically like let the cats go ahead of them, and they pick them up and use them as a shield. And the Egyptian soldiers.
This is weird. I don't know about this story.
I swear to God.
Who told you this story? Where did you get this story?
I swear to God on my mother's life.
The Persians start swinging cats.
I'm serious.
Wait a minute. Is that where the term came from?
Serious,
swinging a cat?
What?
Is that where the term
swinging a cat?
I don't know about that. But the point is they use
What is the point?
They use the cats.
We win the war because of the cats?
Can I just get to
all right.
Yeah. So as you can probably already guess, as you have, the Egyptian army didn't fight back. They were too scared of killing a sacred kitty cat and angering the feared goddess Bastet, who would punish them ruthlessly in the afterlife. And soon enough, Egypt fell into the hands of Cambyses II, making Persia the largest empire in the world. So it's at that point when they took over Egypt that they became
because of the cats that we were swinging.
Exactly.
Can't wait for somebody to write in. You know there's going to be
it's true.
I'm a professor of history at the University of Florida.
I swear to
Please
God.
detain the person who was telling this story.
I'm serious. I will
You're
reference
serious.
the hell out of it.
You're very serious.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Yeah, so let me go on. And rule they did. That is, of course, until some brat named Alexander disrupted things a bit and ruined everything pretty much. Rude. But I digress. So the Persian Empire had to constantly be innovative and crafty with the way they ruled. That's the only way they were able to rule such a vast empire spanning 3 continents for hundreds of years. And according to Sun Tzu's famous book, The Art of War, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Well, know their enemy they did, and in the end, it's all Persian to us. Meow.
That's great. So what is that we discovered?
The
use of cats.
as a war.
I'm waiting for what.
No,
what is the? It's all Persian to us.
The war strategy of using cats against them. I mean, as horrible as it is, it's kind of genius in a way. It's like, how could we defeat the mighty Egyptians?
So they rounded up thousands of cats.
Yeah, that's right.
And entered the Egyptian desert swinging the cats.
Dude,
I don't know.
Pretty much.
That's how U.S. won the Iraq war, dude. I'm telling you. But if it's true, they got screwed.
No, I mean, it is.
Why,
it's definitely.
Why are you guys questioning this?
No.
I'm a little
because
offended.
I think it's. First of all, I don't question that something happened to do with a cat, and but it just seems extraordinary. The army rounded up cats and took them.
Right.
And then swung them.
Right. So I mean, listen, cats were sacred.
Where did they get the cats from? Did they bring them from Iran? Because it would take like years to travel from.
Listen,
and what did they feed the cats?
You know, when I
healthy for the Egyptians to be scared of them.
And cats only live like 15 years. It would take probably 10 years to get to Egypt. So you gotta bring.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
They flew to Egypt like they horses and walked.
It takes months. It takes months to, and they
First of
also
all,
use ships.
They're in high heels, so they can run. The Persians are running in their heels.
Oh man!
All the way to Egypt with the cats. Now, listen, we know how did they? She's right. Yeah. There was a Persian Empire. Someone had to. I mean, we had to. How do you do a Persian Empire? You have to rule the thing with what did you say? Ingenuity and creativity and
craftiness.
Craftiness.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a most interesting.